Welcome to the Ave Podcast, where we're back. We're doing the annual SATRA, the State of the Raptors Address, the 2026 version. I believe now this is the 10th one in a row that we've done now. This is the 10th anniversary of this annual episode. I'm joined by your mother's favorite, COO of Team Light Skin, the magical black man himself, the Magic Man, aka Mr. Randall Walters. How you doing today, sir?
We in the building. Yo, this is a special moment, man. You know, this has to be the longest running South Shore Ave. What do you want to call it?
Yeah, entity, whatever, however you want to call it.
Yo, it's a perennial annual event where the commission and we our beloved Raptors, we love to talk about good, bad, and ugly, blood, sweat, and tears from, the bottom of the Eastern Conference to winning the chip to back on the up and up.
Mm-hmm.
Been through it all, blood, sweat, and tears.
Playing in Tampa through COVID, everything. We just didn't go through the Joey Graham years. That's the only thing we didn't go through, which is
get on some more high school shit. Start punching, in your faces for living.
See, you remember that. And the next annual guest is, we call him affectionately the commish because he used to run 1,822 fantasy leagues across North America. He's trimmed it down now. But he's rocking the 2019 championship shirt. Wear it proudly. Welcome, Julian, aka Juice the Commish. How you doing today, sir?
Thank you. I'm good. I'm always ready to talk raps. Appreciate you having me. Let's get it.
As always, man. But listen, man, I can't even say this is the least amount of Raptors ball I've watched this year. I mean, I've watched enough, but I want to get your opinions. How do you guys feel like the season has been for you guys in terms of excitement? I'm not going to say success because Raptors currently, as we're recording, are in 5th spot. Hopefully, it stays that way. But they're struggling to be within locking in a playoff seed and being in a play, which I think is far more treacherous if they end up in that position. But how are you guys feeling about the season so far, or as we're at the end of the season right now, I should say?
Listen. This is a resurgence, right? I mean, at least for me as a Raptors fan. Right now we're sitting at 43 and 34, I believe. This is a massive leap. We were at I think last year we were around 30 and 52 just at the end of the season. It was a disaster, right? The core of Barnes, Ingram, Quickly, RJ, it's a young core and they're all under contract. So I think we have some fuel. I think we got something brewing. There obviously we'll talk about some tweaks and things that need to be, included and added. But I think overall we have a nucleus, a core that we can move forward with. Maybe there's a few tweaks within it, but sometimes we've seen with the Raptors staying consistent, even though it's frustrating for us as fans because. We all want instant gratification. We want to win right now. But I do think that, if we stay patient, we trust the process. If you look at what other teams have, we're sitting in a good position. That's just my initial thoughts. I don't know.
No, I do agree. I think any Raptor fan should be happy for what we have achieved this far or thus far, coming from last year. We're still a younger type team in the East. We're not an older team in that spot, in that gray spot where we're, fighting for a playoff spot. Should we be fighting for a 1st round pick? I do feel that we're in a good position with Scottie going forward as a core player. I like what Ingram has done in his first year with the Raps. I like what CMB is looking like for considering where he was drafted 11th, 10th, or whatnot. I like what I'm seeing from him as he grows along throughout the season. So I think as a Rap fan, I'm not excited, but I'm happy for what we been able to achieve this year. I'm happy that we're in the playoff spot. I'm pretty sure we're going to be in the top 6. I think nobody had pegged us there. I've said this before. I made a futures bet at the beginning of the season, and it was like a long shot for the Raptors to win 40 games. And I put that money down. I cashed that like 3 weeks ago. So my point is, even Vegas didn't have us going, like being in this position.
Yeah.
So I think with that all being said, as a Raptor fan or Raptor fans out there, we should be not excited, but at least happy that we're seeing the direction or the trajectory that we're on right now. So I think a few more, younger, like a few more first round picks, a couple of trades here and there, I think we would be at least fighting for a second, third round. I know that's not what people want to hear, but we got to take baby steps.
Yeah, I feel like we're in that. What you said is kind of perfect, actually, is like you're happy for the success, the team overall success, because you're pretty much if they can handle business. I mean, right now as we're recording, they're losing to New York, so like I said, the possibility of playing in a play-in is a little treacherous right now. But at the same time, it's like you're happy with the overall success. I mean, they're above 500. They seem like a solid team. They play hard every night. There's not a ton to to dislike really about the team. But it's also the level of excitement. I won't lie. It's not really like, it's not high for me. You know what I mean? If not, it's, what I mean? It's not high for me, but it's like, I'm happy with the success. I liked a lot of the players on the team, and I think this is something that I've complained about. Well, I should say complain, but I've discussed in the last couple of years where it's like I like the core, but it's like, I hope this isn't the final core. You know what I mean? Like, I hope there's going to be some adjustments and stuff to this, just because of the way the contracts and stuff are set up. But like I said, but anybody to sit there and argue that they're not happy with the Raptors' success this season in terms of like, especially where they are right now. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but at the same time, I can understand where the excitement is not like high. You know what I mean?
And this one other point, and well, it shouldn't be high because we're only the 6th seed, so we're expected to lose in the first round. Meaning, like, we're not top 4, we don't have home court advantage, so no one should be excited. But the other point I wanted to add before I forget, you got to also remember all the players playing together. It's like it's all new to them. This is the first year where Ingram's played with Barnes. Quickly's been playing a full season. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? CMB. So like this is our starting 5 hasn't been playing together as many years as say Boston or maybe even Cleveland been together with Allen and Mitchell and Mobley for 4 years. So I just think like with more years under the belt, knowing each other's tendencies, and I think we can further grow as well. So considering that this is the first year that they've been together, again, that's something that we should be kind of happy about in terms of what we've been able to achieve.
Yeah, and I mean, quickly playing this year is it's good. You know what I mean? Like,
he hasn't been.
He's missed so much time.
Yeah, he hasn't been the greatest.
Yeah, and I think you'll probably get into what you think our forecast and outlook looks like, I presume. But one of the core things outside of, like you said, Jules, of making certain roster changes, etc., is the legitimate thing with this roster this year. What I can say is, can this core stay healthy together? And that's been like, we're seeing it right now towards the end of the season, right? You guys mentioned Quickly. Even though Quickly played a quote unquote a full season, there was key stretches that he didn't play, right? I mean, one of the piece that we were all concerned about when we talked last year was Ingram. And Ingram, I think, if anything, has been the most consistent out of everybody.
Yeah, he's been healthy. He's been healthy.
Right. So I think for me, like, if we're looking at the outlook, especially for next year and maybe 2-3 years down the line, one is the core has to stay healthy. And as you alluded, Webster has to make the right moves this summer. I mean, we can't be on that treadmill or on that, the hamster on the wheel, just going around and around, hoping something's going to change, because there needs to be some tweaks to this roster, right?
For sure.
And if everything clicks, I mean, we're looking at a legitimate top 4 team in the East by at least 2027, 28, especially with Barnes earning, coming into his prime. He's now hitting around that 26 mark. If Ingram opts out in 2028, that's where the major crossroads happen. So we have that time period that we got to start, capitalizing on the timeline, right?
And building and bringing in players and bringing in a winning team for him to stay.
Correct. I mean, the real feeling right now is to build a team. I mean, you can't forecast, what can happen, after the regular season. But the realistic ceiling right now, if I was the GM, if I was Bobby Webster, is to build a consistent roster that can win at least 50 games. And off of that, you can start looking towards that, if it's not next year, the year after. Now, can we build on that to build a team for the playoffs, with centers that can withstand the what you call it, the gauntlet inside with all the big centers in the West, right? Because that's really what I feel is going to be the game changers, the center position going into the future, right? And that's where your deep playoff runs can come. So, I mean, we're not necessarily, like you said, a contender right now, but I think, with a few significant changes, first round draft picks, key upgrades, we can be a significant threat.
100%. And again, considering where we came from last year, remember that too, right? Like, so that's the trajectory that we're on.
Progress.
And that's all I want to see is us continuing to build a winning team. And not
even last year, right? Like, it's not that we didn't have the pieces didn't play, right? And at a certain point, they never had, and you said it this year, I don't even think the pieces, even though we're all saying, the pieces had a whole season to play together, I still don't think that, because there are stretches that when they were playing together, especially at the beginning of the season, it looked good. Right?
It looked good, but we didn't have Ingram. Like, you know what I'm saying? So we didn't have a scorer. Like,
no, I'm talking about this season.
Oh, I thought you were talking about last year. Okay,
last season, forget it. This season. That was probably one of the years I didn't even watch as much Raptor games last season. I told you that. I didn't. This year I watched more.
You're right.
We legitimate should have been closer to 50 wins on the trajectory we had at the beginning of the season, right? But we didn't play with a center for the whole year.
That was the problem, and we had no backup center on top of that, right?
And we didn't have a point guard. I'm sorry. I like what we have, but they're not point guards for the whole season, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. So those are the tweaks that I'm hoping to see in the offseason. It's a deep first round draft class. So I'm good. I'm happy for where we're at right now, Calvin. I'm happy.
It's interesting because, Randall made a point about the complacency factor. And I'm like, I've actually been living in Toronto as long as the Raptors have been in existence. When I just moved to Toronto, they were like the Raptors a couple months old, and I have seen, and I'm not a diehard. I mean, you're the Raptor resident diehard, Julian, I've been there. I've seen all the struggles, all the peaks and valleys and stuff, and there's been more. I wouldn't say mediocrity moments, but there's what for you guys, what would you guys say is the probably the most exciting time that to be a Raptor? I don't want to count the championship time. We'll forego 2019 because that was a one-off. But what was the most exciting era where you felt like, man, we got a future, man, anything can happen? You know what I mean? I feel like in the 30 years that we've been here, I don't feel like that's been, or technically 31 years, I don't feel like we've had a lot of those moments, which is interesting.
But I'll tell you, mine was after the Rudy Gay trade, right?
Really? Well,
yeah. When the team started
how far
afterwards? No, I'm saying for me, right? Like when the excitement, there was the Vince era was exciting, right? I mean, that's when I essentially became a Raptor fan. 100%. I mean, I'm not originally from Toronto, right? So, and I moved during that era. So, when I first came, I was more of a Celtic fan because I lived in New England for a while, right? So, by default, but watching the Raptors evolution, that era. But I say what really sparked me to become, I don't know, you could say if you want, a super fan, is going through all those years of complaining. And I mean, that's kind of when, I knew Jules, for a while. Calvin, we grew up together. I knew you out of the womb. But realistically, like when it got, we really got connected and started talking about Raptors, it was in that bad era. Let's be like when DeRozan got drafted is when essentially we all started just kind of talking about it amongst us as a group. But what really sparked me to be like, yes, something is clicking right now, right? Finally, that I was like, I want to watch more games was when they went to the first, like for a while, they went to the playoffs and they played Brooklyn. The side foot season, right? That to me was like the We the North era is when I was like, let me put on my hat, let me put on my little jersey, let's go to war. Like We the North. Like I like that whole marketing campaign, and the team was going in the right direction. Moves were being made that made us kind of more than just the regular one-off good season. You could see the progression, the clicking, like, Larry coming to his own, DeRozan stepping out the shadows of others, right? To me, that was exciting.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to ask me, Calvin, because as a diehard, every little thing was exciting. So I didn't know any better going through that process. So, but for me, it was when Tracy McGrady was coming into his own in the playoffs against the Knicks in that first round. It was, and like Tracy was like on the end of the bench with Butch Carter, wasn't really getting much playing time throughout the entire season. And for the first time ever, for some reason, Butch Carter threw him in the line. He didn't start him, but get him like 25, 30 minutes. I think he bumped out Doug Christie out of the out of the minutes or the rotation. And McGrady kept on hitting buckets. And I'm like, yo, Vince and Tracy, this is it. This is what we've been asking for. They're going to the finals. That was the first moment, that playoff run. I don't remember the year, but it was against Sprewell. Man, that playoff round, that first round. And we lost, but I was like, yo, we were so close. And I thought, man, going forward with McGrady and Vince, this franchise is set. I just remember. So that was my moment.
Well, you know how my feelings are on Vince Carter, right? But part of that feeling was because he took you on such a high, right? For me, like I said, with him, it was, I watched him from North Carolina. So even though he wasn't quote unquote the top player, you could see that sky high potential. And then to land him here, I was excited. So because I remember when there was a lockout year, if I remember correctly, and they started in like January or whatever. But me and the family, like all of us, all my siblings, Curtis, big brother Curtis, all of us, we all went to the open practice that they had, right? And the stuff that they were doing in that practice, you're like, yo, I don't know what's gonna happen, but man, this is exciting. You know what I mean? And then those first 2 years were like, that was the first real, like ceilings of success. You know what I mean? Where we could see like the ceiling was like, even though they're young, like there might not be a roof on this ceiling. That's how I kind of felt. You know what I mean? Not until Vince, but until Tracy left, and then, Yeah. Then you saw the ceiling. You know what I mean? But
and that's what a rookie could do to to an entire team. If the team could see this young kid coming in, might be taking somebody's job or bringing the energy and playing at a level better than 6-7 year vets, it just motivates everybody, fans, players, coaches. So I for sure. But Vince Carter, come on now, see everybody. That's probably everybody's peak outside of the championship. Everybody's peak moment with the Raptors when Vince was at his highest level. But I get it. For sure.
And it's crazy because like you really get a sense of like, when they say like a player comes along like once a generation where you're like, yo, like this, like you're supposed to really like take advantage. Like you're supposed to like lasso onto that rocket. I mean, we all know Vince. I mean, you guys number retired, all that stuff. That's probably one of the best, if not the best pure talent that we've had in the history of the Raptors. Yeah. But it's just crazy because it's like throughout that whole time, we never had anybody come. I don't want to say close to that, but like we just never had anybody to that level where you're like, yo, the ceiling is like, man, I don't know where this can go, and it's exciting, and it's like
it's not easy.
I kind of missed that.
It's not easy.
No, it isn't. It really isn't.
Or bring somebody in free agency in Toronto.
It's hard as hell.
No, right. But the one thing about Vince is it's the way he did it, right? Like he was doing things that we just didn't see. right? It was a style we never saw. Like those, when he was on a fast break, everybody was standing up. Like it, and what it also did is it exposed Toronto in general, culture,
Yeah.
the city. Like, you started seeing like Vince created this atmosphere of when you come to Toronto, it's Vince's city, where it's like, the Vegas of the North, right? Or the
Yeah.
Miami of the North, where, Lady Luck emerged and all these players are coming out, and now everyone's talking about Toronto girls and the nightlife. And then, you had him in the dunk
And we
competition.
was in them streets.
Yeah, right.
For sure. And the media, and we got games on prime time and
Yep.
exposure, as you're saying, right?
Look at Durant. I mean, Durant's favorite team growing up was what?
Yeah, Toronto.
Yeah, but it's like I asked this, and I'm getting into this topic because I'm like, when I look at this team, for example, it's like I don't have that. I kind of miss having that feeling, especially reflecting back over these like these period in time. It's like you're happy for the future. You're happy for what you have. You don't want to be ungrateful for what's here. But it's just I feel like, I'm trying to say, I feel like
you've been spoiled. You've been spoiled.
It's not even that we're spoiled, but it's like I don't feel like we have that. Like you can see the ceiling. I feel like we can see the ceiling. That's my point with this team. I feel like we can see the ceiling.
Because we don't have a franchise player like that. Those are rare to come by. Those Giannis's, those Durants, even I'll put Vince in that kind of category.
You can.
You can, right? So that comes every like 10, 15 years. Like
if that, if you could draft them.
So we've been spoiled because it was in our prime, in our youth, where we had this opportunity to follow a team with a player like that. Right. So as we get older, I won't lie, like my interest gets less in terms of watching basketball. I'm just like, right. Because when I'm like 19, 20, I'm hooping, I'm watching, I'm like, yo, this is life. Ball is life. Still is life. But you know what I'm saying? As I get older, it's still life, but not as much. It's like, oh man.
For sure.
Right. And so right now, as we get older, it's weaning off slightly, and we don't have that franchise player to keep us.
Do you need a franchise player to win? I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm like, do you think that, in the era of, the one quintessential team that everyone talks about that's like never had a bona fide star was the Detroit, right? They had a bunch of stars, right? And maybe some of them on their own could have developed to be single stars, right? Yeah, but could you have a team of bona fide stars and win in this era?
I don't think so.
So if your question is, do you need one? I think you do.
No, I'm saying, like, could you have another Detroit Piston a la, what is it?
Where it's like a bunch of all-stars, it's like an ensemble cast.
Yeah, I personally think you have a much harder time. You have a much harder time. And the only reason why I think that is because of the refs making calls. And I hate to say it, like they're going to more than often give the call in favor to the star player. And if we're playing for like we have the better 5 players and they have 2 superstars down the stretch, free throws, I hate to say it, but it does influence the refs. And I think that can sway a game. And you do need at least one star, like a Shea on OKC. That's their star, right? Clearly. I think every Wemby, like I think going forward, you're going to need at least one star, at least one superstar to get the calls. It sucks, but that's the way it is, man.
Because even with Detroit from like, I guess you're talking that era like 20 years ago. But even in that time, I mean, think about it. Like how often in NBA history have you seen a team that was like they had all stars, but not that superstar coming in, win a title, at least one or two. If you go down the list of history, it's rare.
It's rare.
It's really rare. You know what I mean? Like you usually need that, like it's like an ensemble cast, like I would say Cheers, but Cheers still has Sam Malone. You know what I mean? Like
you need it.
So do you guys think, like right now in the East, right? I'm just thinking at the top of my head. Mm-hmm. The team that comes to mind is the Knicks, right? Do you think the Knicks have a bona fide superstar on their team? They've star.
Personally, like a superstar, no. But I don't.
Like
at the same time, I don't think Knicks are the top 3 teams in the East anyhow. Right?
Really?
I think it's Detroit.
I don't.
You don't think Detroit's better than? You don't think Detroit has a better chance?
No.
Than the Knicks?
No.
For this year or the future?
No, maybe in the future, but not this year.
Oh, come on. No, Detroit's the better team. By far.
No.
By far.
No. But
Cade has been out for the last 2 weeks and they're still winning against teams that are fully healthy. I just think with I think Detroit, Cleveland, I don't think they have a superstar, even with Harden at this stage of his career. Mitchell, is he a superstar? I don't know.
He's kind of like a Brunson. He's just a tier down.
Yeah, exactly.
Down superstar level.
But I do
really good though.
Cleveland and the Knicks in a playoffs in a series, that's tough. Actually, I think I like Cleveland. I like Cleveland to beat Knicks. I think it's Detroit, Boston, and Cleveland are the top 3 teams.
Yeah, I mean, I think Boston is up there still, right? Especially now that Tatum fast track back. I'm not scared of any of those teams. I'm being honest with you, but I think the Knicks right now, to me, are the most well-rounded team and built for the playoff run.
On paper, I would say so, but they just haven't been able to. Even in the last 10, 15 games, they won. I think they had a 6-game losing bender just recently too. At this junction of the year, you would think that there would be more of a tighter knit and, ready to go into the playoffs. But I don't know. We'll see. They are very sporadic. When you think about it, it's just they don't really have any true Cat is only really actually Mitchell's a rebounder, but they have no real big man in the paint. A lot of the plays perimeter, like Hart, Brunson. Even OG, he's not a back to the basket. He's not in the paint. So, and then Bridges, it's a lot of guard play. So I don't know. It's the East is wide open basically at the end of the day. And Raptors could take 2 to 3 games out of any of those teams in a 7-game series.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't argue that at all. And that's why I said it's almost like the window this year. I mean, it kind of was rocky, right? There was times in the East where it seemed like everybody was getting injured, and the Raptors kind of had that trajectory to kind of step into a spot of at least record-wise top 5, top 4. They finished top 5. Really, they came back a little bit at the end, but I feel like they really could have solidified themselves in that range, right? Without us guessing last moment, and they could have been easily closer to a 50-win team if they made some changes to trade deadline, something.
Right. Which they did try. They were, on
so they stayed. Yeah.
Right. So but they still need a big. They still Pirtle. I love Pirtle. It's the first time around. Second time around, not so much. He's just slow. He's not shot blocking. Now, mind you, they say it's his health, right? His back. But he seems to be playing of recent. And he doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. No confidence around the rim.
And the contract. The
contract didn't age well. I remember we had a podcast a few years ago. We were like, it's not bad. That's the average going rate for us.
Yeah.
Now we're sitting here God, how do we offload it?
Yeah. No, 100%. But we were desperate. That was the problem. We were desperate, meaning that we had no bigs, legit no bigs for 3-4 years until we brought them back in. Legit no bigs, and you need a big to match up against Embiid and for matchup purposes, right? Mm-hmm. But anyhow,
well, when Embiid is here,
that's our superstar, right? See,
yeah. But it's funny because every team in the East, at least at the top elite teams, kind of has a little bit of they have a hole in it. You know what I mean? Detroit experience, right? As good as they are, they're really well rounded. I got to give a shout out to Batch, who's kind of being a family member at this point of South Sherrod. But I remember when we did our we didn't get a chance to release it, but when we did the our preseason stuff, I remember he had Detroit number 1.
And who did he have number 2?
Philly.
I think he had.
So that cancels his number 1.
Hold on. He
actually said that Philly would win it, the East.
100%.
Remember we were arguing with him?
No, but hold on a second. But he said he had Philly if they played healthy. And you guys made
No. We told him you can't do that because we know Embiid's going to go down.
No, we even put money down on it. Remember, I put money down on it. I got to remind you.
He's like, even doesn't matter. I mean, yeah, he's always hurt. You can't put Philly at 2. George is always hurt. You can't. He's older.
But you can't cancel out Detroit because he made Philly the second. You had Detroit right.
But you had Philly wrong. Yeah, that Philly take was a wild one, just like the Dallas one. I hope he's watching this. You had 2 wild hot takes. You had 3, and you made 1 out of 3. But
I just want my money. I just want my money. I just want my money. I don't care who he got first, who he got last. I want my money.
Right. Philly number 2. I said there's not a chance.
But all this to say, Detroit the experience is going to be the thing that everybody's going to question, right? Even though they went to the playoffs last year, they did a solid job. But now the bullseye's on their back a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Boston, I mean, listen, I'm actually pretty amazed, or not pretty amazed. Let me rephrase that. I am completely amazed at how well Tatum has been playing.
Man,
even though I know he's not 100% still, but there's no way I didn't think he was going to come back like this. Like he looks good, but I'm still kind of like, let's see, you know what I mean? Can you go with Kata and stuff on a deep run for the next 2.5 months? Mm-hmm. Let's see, even though he's been playing solid. Cleveland, as long as Harden is on that team, I don't have faith. That's the X factor in the
I agree.
Sorry, I'm just not going to do it.
I 100% agree.
There's just way too much evidence to tell me otherwise. And then the Knicks is well-rounded, but Mike Brown's coaching the team. I root for black coaches like Chappelle used to root for black actors in the Chappelle Show, but I don't know. His experience isn't great as a playoff coach and stuff, even though he's had some good teams. So I'm a little skeptical. You know what I mean? We're going to see what happens. And I mean, and Atlanta, I think Atlanta next year is going to be a real problem. I think this year, but with the trade, the Trae Young trade and getting Kuminga and all that stuff is going to help them in the future. But I don't know if I'm not expecting them to do big things right now.
Kuminga's going to take them over?
No. But losing Trae Young is the better addition.
They got a lot of depth, right?
I'm not arguing about the movement of Trae Young, but I thought you said with Kuminga next year they're going to be better or something. Have you been? I know we have heated debates about Kuminga. I know you're a Kuminga fan, and I'm not so much.
It's not that I'm a Kuminga fan. It's just I really thought he got railroaded by Kerr.
Yeah, and he needed opportunity, right? Which you said,
really railroaded,
which he's gotten in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, I think he was hurt for a bit, but
he's been able to turn the page and be in a new organization and have a new opportunity. He's
taking Ricochet's minutes.
Yeah, he's not looking like he has his ups and downs. He has some good days. I just don't think he's a guy you want to rely on to take you to the second and third round of the playoffs.
No, he's not a star.
I won't even mention his name. I'm telling you, Kevin, I've been following him in Atlanta to see if I was wrong, right? So I'm like, oh my God, I could be wrong here because I've been watching him in Golden State and he's not good. He has moments where he flashes, but he has also moments where he looks completely like a dud. And I was like, let's see how he does in Atlanta with the opportunity. And he still has not been able to take over like a 6-man role or be
He's
consistent.
taking Ricochet's minutes at this point.
Ricochet stinks.
Well, Ricochet was one of the guys.
It's not like he's taking away somebody who's been producing. Ricochet hasn't been producing. They have really no bench over there. My whole point is that this is a great opportunity for him to seize and insert himself in part of the rotation, even into the starting lineup. Well,
I'm saying all this to say though, with the Raptors, I said this would be a great time right now for them to take some, to leap up on the ladder, but I just don't feel like their team is there yet to do that. It's this is a great window to make a leap or, catch somebody, like catch him slipping. But I'm like, I just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't feel like
it's not there, but they're not there yet.
They're
and
not
I
there.
agree.
So it's like a missed
definitely not
opportunity.
there yet. But give them a couple of years. I think they can build around this core. I think they can build.
Okay, so what's your assessment of Brandon Ingram first year with the Raptors? Let's start with you, Rand. Like after this first full season, how do you feel about him?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a mixed bag. I think overall it's trending positive. Like Ingram missing the first part of all of the season last year, due to his ankle. I mean, we were all uncertain, but
tanking.
Yeah, but I mean, look, his numbers have been solid. 21 points. I think he's shooting just shy of 50% from the field. His three has dipped a little, which is concerning. But overall, his numbers are good. He's played 72 fucking games. Like, come on, man. We didn't expect that.
For him, that's great.
He's only missed three, if I'm correct, right? So outside of his, the concerns about injuries that shadowed him his whole career. I mean, the guy was an all-star, right? I know I saw something just today that's ironic because I'm talking like this because they had him rated the most overrated player in the NBA, right, this year. But I didn't think so, right? I think. Yeah, I just saw it today, this morning. I read something saying he was voted the most overrated player in the NBA. I mean, really overall, he's a scorer. I don't think he's the guy like you guys were talking about. Who's the face of the team? I don't think there really is one particular shining face. I mean, we all think it's Barnes, but again,
he's the closest.
Yeah, he's the closest, but he's our definitely. We needed someone that can score and that can create. He can do that despite not really having a three. He's kind of fit that DeMar role to me when he was with the Raps. But I'm happy with him, right? And I think he's part of the core overall. I would say if you're gonna rate him a B plus, better than advertised with his health, and I think we all thought that. Delivered as a scorer, which we needed. And I still think there's the fit, with the fit, there's still some room to grow, right? I don't think he's really fit 100% with the roster yet because with all the injuries, people in and out. But I think with a few tweaks, I think he'll fit in well. I just don't want him to fall into that role like he was when he was over at
New Orleans.
New Orleans. So.
No, you made some good points in terms of his health. The way he has fit in with the team, I think we needed a scorer. Like we didn't have like a pure scorer. Nope. And it's funny you mentioned DeMar. It was mentioned. I was just watching this evening, and they said DeMar, as always, led the league in the mid range, field goals made, and Ingram was second. So my point is like we needed a scorer. Barnes isn't a pure scorer. He's more of a glue guy, rebound, shot block, defense. You know what I'm saying?
A jack of all trades.
Right. Whereas I think Ingram, you can put the ball in his hand and everybody will feel confident enough that he will get off a good shot in that moment. And I think that's what we were missing. So for me personally, I think he exceeded my expectations just based on the health alone. And seeing how he's able to score at will, he's not bashful. He's able to take double teams and go into the paint, get N1s, get to the line, and we didn't really have that. So in my eyes, it was a great trade, great signing. Like in hindsight, right now, what I'm looking at, great trade and great. Because who did we trade? I don't remember. We traded a first round pick, right? Last year's pick. Or maybe it wasn't Olenek and whoever. But the point is, I think it was, in hindsight now, it's definitely a fantastic trade. And I think it's an A for Ingram, for sure, for what he's been able to do and what I had anticipated. Because I didn't think they were going to be this good or he would have been this good. It's almost like him coming to Toronto too, got him away from like LA, got him away from New Orleans. It's just a ball. There's nothing, not that there's nothing to do here. There's a lot to do, but I think he needed like a change in terms of a new coaching approach, a new city, country where he could just focus on his career. It's almost like it was like not his last shot, but it was like, this could be it, man. If you don't want to be labeled as a journeyman or somebody of a castaway, because at the end of the day, that's what New Orleans basically did, right? They basically just casted him away for nothing. I wouldn't say for nothing, but they should have got more for a player like Ingram, in my opinion.
Yeah. And when you get traded and you see the pieces that the team gets back for you, that's a motivational tool too. When you see like, yo, that's all you got for me, that's like guys take that to heart too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Brown, Olenek, Bruce Brown,
Olenek, and
but guys, you also got there's some context around that, right? There's two things that come into play in the mind. One is his health was terrible, right? And the other was that his contract was due, and he wanted a bag, right? And he wanted out of that organization as well. So teams weren't lined up for Ingram. So and remember,
but you're right. I agree with you.
At the time, it was looked at like, remember, Masai caught a lot of flack for, like, even though Webster's fingerprints were all over.
He did for that.
Masai caught a lot of flack. Everyone thought it was a knee-jerk reaction to get somebody in right away. Because the fit, when we did the podcast last year, we didn't understand the fit. We spent half of the podcast last year talking about fit. So you're right. I mean, I didn't say it was an A, because I still think there's room to grow with him. I don't think it was perfect, but I think he was good enough and better than advertised. Right? Next year is the telltale for me, right? Like if he can even do what he did this year and next year, I would probably bump him up to an A, right?
Yeah, for sure. 100%, because it would show consistency.
He's been solid, man. He's had some good moments as a player. I mean, he was an all-star this year, although alternate though. But he was an all-star this year and stuff.
He could have been an all-star straight out. Let's be real.
No, you're not wrong about that. He's giving Glorilla a lot of Aeroplan points for sure, because she's been here a lot this year, which is like, wow. That's actually, I guess it's kind of cool if you like the cultural thing. Listen, I mean, we know the history of the Raptors. We've discussed this. I feel like I should make this like the State of the Raptors Address its own page on my website, because the consistent theme that we've talked about almost all episodes is about the history of us being able to get that guy and to land a free agent. And you know how hard it is to to have free agents come here and get those players, and you have to do everything through trades, or we're a big market, but we have to move like a small market team. It's like we've never gotten that novelty of being in Canada knocked off us. You know what I mean? Like it's a A1 level type of franchise, but it's like we're still moving like a bit of a small market. So to your point, I do remember the whole thing with Masai and catching that flack because of like Ingram coming here and stuff. And look, man, I like Ingram. I've always liked him. He's a good player, solid player, and he's the finisher that the Raptors. I remember, I think it was you were saying, Julian, earlier before about Poto, where it was like we needed a big because like we were so desperate for a big, and I feel like with Ingram we're desperate for that.
Correct.
That score. You know what I mean? So it's like we got him. It's cool. Listen, man, I consider myself a bit of a hoops historian. I've been watching basketball since I was like 6. Randall can tell you. And coming from the family and everything. So it's like I've been watching basketball a long time, man. I don't see it with Ingram. I'm sorry. I don't like, you know what I mean? It's like I like him, and I'm not saying this to knock him. I like him, but I don't like, if he's your number one guy, you can see the ceiling. You know what I'm saying? If he's your number one scorer, unless you're built like Detroit, which this team is not built like Detroit, and I think that the Detroit situation 20 years ago was more of a unique circumstance where the league was at that time and the scoring was lower. I think now it's set up where you need to have like that A1 guy. And look, we can say like, Ingram's 28 years old and, he still has time, but Ingram's 10 years in the league. Next year, he'll be in 11 years in the league. You are who you are at this point. And I just look at history. Like, it's very rare we're talking about like title contenders and that kind of stuff. You need a guy historically. I'm not saying this for every single team because you have like the Tim Duncans and that Detroit team and stuff, but you need if you want to have a chance to win a title, your top guys got to do a minimum of 25 a night. Minimum. Just minimum. Like, it doesn't matter. It's funny. It doesn't matter the eras. It doesn't really matter like whether it was low scoring, high scoring, all that stuff. The minimum the threshold is roughly around 25. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but it's if you want a chance, you got to have at least 25. And Ingram's never averaged 25 in his whole career. You know what I mean? I think the highest his average is maybe a shade under 25, I think. Right?
Really?
And yeah, I think it's like but not in New Orleans. I think like 3 years ago, he averaged like 24.8 or something like that. I'm just looking it up here. And like, yeah, it's about 3 years ago. And you know, when the playoffs comes, you know how this guy, you guys know how this goes. There's going to be some games where you're going to need 30, 35 a night. Like we need you to get them 30, 35 tonight. Like can't get you 20, like 25 ain't going to cut it this game. We need those games. And sometimes, like I said, you know, in history, you have those stars that come out. Now, don't get me wrong. Hopefully this is what I would love if this is like a Jimmy Butler situation where Jimmy Butler's not a 25-point scorer, but in the playoffs, at least when he was in the Heat, the guy turned into, you know, like a B-level superstar, if you want to call him. Like he was kind of like this generation's Reggie Miller, where it was like you do good in the regular season, great in the playoffs, but he was still a shade below like the superstar. But he still outperformed whatever he did in the playoffs. Can Ingram be that? I don't see it, but I want to be wrong. Like I actually want to be wrong because again, this is not a knock. I like Ingram.
And we will see in this year's playoffs. And I think you made some good points. And I don't think he's ever been known for a playoff guy. Wherever he's been, he's never really been in a winning. He never turned a franchise around. He's never been a winner, if you want to say. So it would be very interesting this playoffs to see how well he plays and how well he competes and how well he can take the Raptors like into the playoffs. So I think this is like for his experience. I think this is going to be great for his experience and for all of us to kind of evaluate if he can be that guy. Because I do agree with you. He isn't that guy. He isn't. But I still feel from this year, from watching this season, to me, this has to be his best season, is it? I haven't looked at his stats.
No, I think the one first All-Star. Remember the first year where he took over, where he had the 23 points. Whenever like there was 1 year he was his breakout year. Remember that 1 year? Was it really?
This is
wow. The other year he was way better.
I gotta see what his stats are this year. Like I don't know. I thought for me because I guess I haven't watched him like how he's always been in the West for the most part.
Did he win most improved player of the year 1 year? Who's that year?
So. I believe one of those years he got that.
But the thing about him
this season, 21.5.
You know what? See, you said it. There's he's too like even though he had a great season, a guy that's supposed to be a guy. There's sometimes that he was like. There's been especially this stretch. There's been like 10 points, 8 points, 15 points, 20, 10 points, 21 points.
And not to cut you, Randall, but just the last game against the Celtics, he had 15.
Yeah, like it's too. But you know, in the same vein, you could say maybe he needs more space to breathe because we talked about this again last year. His operating space is clogged up with Scottie, and you know Scottie's offensive numbers have gone down because some of that went to him.
Right.
But then you still got RJ. Who's a scorer, right? RJ has been on a tear recently, you know, in regards to scoring. Yes. And then you got IQ who averages 10 points, right? Poto's in around that, you know, can go up and down around the 10 points. That's a lot of points, and we're not a offensive juggernaut team, right? Yeah. We're not a
spacing isn't great.
No, spacing is not great. We don't have shooters, so you know, all in all, can he get better? Yes. But I'm in agreement. No one fears this team, and no one fears him. Now, if you have an alpha, it may alleviate some pressure sometime for him to actually score. So it's like the 1A and 1B, kind of like when you look at LA, right? You know, you got like like I say the three amigos, right? But sometimes Reeves creeps in there, and he's averaging 20 points a game, right? You know, Luka may average 30, 40, but he's always in that 20 range. You know, maybe that's Ingram's role.
Yeah, I think this team is the ceiling for this team is going to be similar to me if they keep this core and keep this way it is. It's going to be the ceiling is going to be similar to the We the North era before Kawhi got here. Where and I mean this in terms of like everybody's in a certain slotted role where they're kind of above their pay grade, but like when Kawhi got there was like everybody got slotted properly. You know what I mean? And then it just made that team just really go. Even though they're great in the regular season, like DeMar is DeMar's gonna have his jersey retired in the rafters, but at the same time, it's like DeMar is a number 2 guy. You know what I mean? Like he was masquerading as a number 1. You know what I mean? So it's like everybody kind of got slotted down to their role, and I feel like the Raptors are right now. It's like they're missing that guy to slot them in their proper role. But again, like I said, this is progress from last year. So I don't want to sound like I'm being like a downer here. I'm not. I'm really not. But I'm just pointing out what I see. You know what I mean?
I don't know what direction we're going in, but like in regards to the next questions and so forth. But I could tell you this. What coming to my mind right now is what type of player, position-wise, do you think the Raps need to help that turnaround?
Oh, I know this answer right now. I can tell you right now easily.
I'm asking.
Two. We need a shooter. We need first of all, I like how Walter's progressing, by the way. But we need a pure shooter, consistent shooter from outside. And we need an athletic big. What's up with the North?
Walter.
Walter Shedd. Okay, yeah. He's looking. CMB, I mentioned early how I like looking how he's improving each game. Walters easily has surpassed Dick at this point. Like Dick is not even a rotational player. But we need another player off the bench. Oh, sorry, Grady, man. Man, leave Dick alone. But you need another shooter off the bench other than Walter. And we need we need an athletic big man, an athletic one that can run the court and that can shot block. Those are the 2 things right now what we need. Easily. If we can draft a big, I was telling somebody the other night, I actually like that kid Mara that on in the NCAA on Michigan.
For Michigan.
Yeah, because he's a 7'3", he's actually athletic.
Active, he's got great hands too.
Right. So honestly, having him in a lineup in this year 3 or year 4 in the NBA, I think will propel Toronto, for example. But anyhow, a shooter and a big, athletic big, that can shot block, that can run the court. They don't even have to be outside shooting jumpers and hitting threes. We don't need that. We don't need scorers. I think we just need a shot blocker and somebody that can intimidate in the paint so we don't have anybody just coming into the paint and just doing layups on us.
And I also think we need a point guard. That's my opinion. But
yeah, we do too. Yeah, I agree. I would 100% agree. Definitely, if anything, if not a starting point guard, I like Shedd as well, but like a pass first backup point guard that can just,
I think we need to start. I think Shedd is our backup legit. Like if something happens, I trust him to hold down the fort, but we need a starting point guard. Quickly,
I would agree. I would agree. Quickly, he's a shooter.
I like that Cadeau kid, man. I coached against him way back. He tore us apart. Picture their backcourt. Their backcourt was Cadeau and the kid from last year from Auburn. What's his name? He's a starting point guard for Auburn, and that was their backcourt. The team we played. What's his name?
Why can't I remember his name?
Oh shoot!
Can't remember his name for some reason. I know you're talking about.
Last year they went to the finals. He started as a freshman, the point guard for Auburn. Oh shit!
It'll come to me.
That was their starting backcourt. Take that in.
Yeah.
Wow. It was good.
I just heard today that Cadeau's going back to Michigan next year.
Yeah.
Going back. It ain't going to the league with NIL, winning the chip.
Did you see that? I think it was. Did you guys see? Well, we're going to get off topic, but the salaries for each player on the Michigan team. Did you guys see it?
Like $5 million.
Yeah. I'll be going back too.
Yeah. Why would you go? Why?
Especially when the league is there. You know what I mean? And maybe you can play yourself into a higher spot next year. The draft is deep this year, right? Too. So there's also that.
But if you like, I don't know how much he got like this year. Maybe let's say he got like $2 million this year, and he goes back and he gets like 3-4. That's legit $4 million you can stack and put away for your life.
For your life,
you know
life.
If you live reasonable, that's it. You don't even need to work again. Let's be real.
You can run your own
even
business.
If you don't make the league,
yep.
You can go play in Europe or play in whatever. You can still make a good living on that, but at least you have a $5 million, $6 million to sleep on.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have.
Yes,
it's definitely a good problem to have. What are your thoughts on this version of Scottie Barnes? I'll start with you, Julian.
And I'm liking him being the leader. I think he's our true leader. He is our leader. He's our general. I like how he's taken on that role. He's not shy. Like he wants to be a leader. And that's the difference between like a Vince Carter. I've always said like he wasn't a leader. He wasn't somebody that would relish in that role and whatnot. So no, he didn't. He was always like his post-game pressers, like his interviews was always the worst. Vince Carter when we would have lost. But anyhow, the point is, to your question, I like how Scottie has evolved. I like how he has matured. When he first came into the league, he was like the most immature knucklehead. I remember he was
goofy as hell.
Oh man, beyond goofy.
I remember.
I was praying that he'll just mature, right? I'm not saying he has fully, but it seems like on the court he has, right? He doesn't take any of these crazy, like erratic shots. Like we were just talking about LaMelo prior to the start of the podcast. His game hasn't really matured to where we thought it could be in terms of erratic and crazy decision making and whatnot. But for Scottie, I think he has evolved to being that leader. Whether we like it or not, I think he is our leader, and I think he's done a great job in leading us for his age and whatnot. And I think how his game has evolved in terms of being able to play all 4 positions or even 5 positions and defend and wanting. I think a few games ago he was taking on Brunson like as the main defender. Like he's okay to take on any of the star offensive players. So for him to evolve to be this player, I think we're fortunate. We're fortunate that we actually drafted him instead of Suggs. I think we are fortunate to see him evolve to the way he is.
I'll tell you, honestly, for this season, he's the most exciting storyline on this team. I mean, he's literally become a bona fide two-way star, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, he's averaging close to 20 points, 8 rebounds, almost 6 assists, like 2 blocks, 1 steal. That's crazy. Think about that, right? He's a true stat stuffer. I mean, an all-star, and the evolution is real. Like, and you don't need to always be a scorer to be, like you said, like a guy that's a key cornerstone of the franchise, right? I think he adds elements kind of like a la Scottie Pippen, right? And I'll take that on my team any day. He's an elite company, right? When you look at the numbers and the things he's done this year, right? And I don't know.
I think I saw the line too.
Yeah, but I mean, those stats alone. I think I was reading, or no, I was listening to NBA radio. I listen to that every morning, and they're saying he's like, I think there's 4 players that his stats alone. There's 4 players that have only reached the stats he has in the history of the NBA. I think it was Larry Bird, Kevin Garnett, LeBron, and Scottie Pippen. That's elite company, guys. I mean, we don't really look at it because we see the evolution of them, but people on the outside, they talk about them, right? Especially during that run towards the All-Star period, everybody was like, man, Scottie's a guy. Scotty's a guy. People praise him. Coaches praise him. Players respect him. Yeah. I mean, even his passing has grown dramatically. I mean, over this last stretch, he's been averaging like almost 10 assists a game, right? He had I think this year he had 25 rebounds in 1 game, guys.
Yeah.
Right? Stronger. I mean, we were complaining about that like 2 years ago, right, on this pod. Again, the same thing as I'm going to say about Ingram with him, though. The knock is consistency, right? I mean, as much as he adds all these elements, there's times we do need him to score. There's times that other people are having off nights that he doesn't step up, right? And there's the major thing that I'm disappointing is I think he can still develop his shot. I think even from the field, he was shooting like recently just like 35%, right? Watching the game. I mean, you watch all the games like me, Jules, like you saw it, right?
His 3-point percentage has dropped this year for sure.
Yeah, and even I believe his 2-point percentage, right? He hasn't taken as many shots as in the past, but all in all, like I don't want to rag on him because to me, honestly, his ceiling is a perennial All NBA guy. That's a ceiling.
I agree, 100%. And he has the passion. He has the passion for it. Like, sorry, not to cut you, but he has the passion. Like you can see, he cares. Like on defense, on offense, he's like in the timeouts that you see he cares. And I look for that in a player, right? Because it can also show you that where their growth is going to be in terms of like how much work they're going to put in and whatnot. So he cares. So he plays with a lot of passion, and you need that on a winning team.
Yeah, I mean, the question for me is, is whether he adds that dominant scoring element to become a franchise cornerstone, like I was saying before, on a championship team, or is he just going to be an elite co-star, right? Which is fine, but I think either way, we got ourselves someone that we don't want to let go. So,
agree, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and like I was saying before, I love that he's consistent from the line. He's like shooting 81% from the free throw line. That's huge. That means in the end of games he's dependable, right? Yeah. To make those clutch free throws, like that's huge, right? You do want that, and again, like he's if Wemby didn't exist on this planet, he would probably be really strong contender for defensive player of the year. Yeah, man, he's making a good strong leap this season, man. I really like what I'm watching from him. And to Randall's point, I'm just reading off here: 18 points a game, 7.5 rebounds, 6 assists, 1.5 steals, and 1.5 blocks a game.
Wow, yeah.
It's a great staff. He's a playmaker, defensive stud, energy driver. He's growing into a leader. There's no doubt like he's a tough player that's leveled up. You know what I mean? So it's like I said, regardless of what I was saying earlier in terms of like, obviously we all know that we recognize that we don't have that guy, and like he's really slotted as like a number 2 guy. You know what I mean? In terms of where his pay grade should really be, and not I say pay grade, but you know what I mean? His level should really be. But I mean, for now you have what you have, right? Like that's the thing. It's like you can't, like, these guys don't grow on trees. You know what I mean? And you have to make moves, and maybe that's what's coming, because like I always said, that's the one thing that I'm not crazy about is this team is close to like the luxury tax, and like I said, we can see the ceiling. It's not a good place to be in. You know what I mean? Because like I said, the team is like, people say the team is young, but it's like it's not that young. It's not as young as you think, I should say. Not I don't want to say make it sound like it's old, but it's not as young as you think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I said, especially like Ingram, again, the best season that he's had health-wise, but he's going into year 11. And Toronto's got a good, like, in terms of like training staff and all that stuff, even from like what we saw. I mean, we're the ones that kind of started low management, but they have a really good training staff. But like, again, a guy that hasn't been the most healthiest player he's in double-digit years right now. I'm like, a little nervous, you know what I mean? So, but I'm like, I think the good thing is if you can get these guys to play really well another year or so, everybody's contract is kind of tradable, because I'll have to look at the contracts again in a second, but like everybody's kind of around that $40 million a year mark. You know what I mean? Which is, with the exception of Barrett, which is like not a great place to be in when you don't have that star. You know what I mean? Because like I said, you're just a couple of mils short of that apron, which is the first apron at least. It's not a great place to be in, and that's where I was seeing this even from like last year, 2 years ago. I'm like, we're signing these guys to these contracts, and I get it, because to our earlier point, this is, you know what I mean? Like, you got to be able to keep these guys here and stuff. So I get it. As great as the city can be, it's like we always have to overpay for these certain guys, but it's like, what could we do? You know what I mean? It's what could we do? But again, going back to Scottie again, I'm all in on the guy. I've liked him from when he's come into the league, and it's nice to see that he's maturing into the person. So like what we're seeing is like we were kind of seeing this a few years ago. Let's be real. Like we were kind of, predicting this is what's going to happen, and this is what's kind of happening right now, which I'm happy to see. And he loved his heart. And like my favorite play of the season, my favorite moment in the season is when they played Phoenix and he blocked Jalen Green on that dunk.
Yeah.
And it was like let them score a couple points to do the free throws, and he was like, nah, like I'm not even giving you that. And then he still had the assist to Barrett to like to basically wrap that game up. That was my favorite moment of the season. Like I thought that was like it was an example of his heart.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I love that.
And it spreads when somebody's diving on the floor or trying to block dunk attempts, and like it just spreads. And that's what you need. That's why you need those kind of infectious type of players on your squad. You have to.
Yeah, and like
talent can only take you so far. Talent can only take you so far.
And like I said, and when you're doing that in front of the Raptors fans, and listen, man, I could be biased, but I don't even think I am. I think Toronto's got some of the best fans. The Raptors have some of the best fans in the NBA. Like it's like when you have a good team in front of those and that crowd, especially in the playoffs, it's man, you can feel it through the TV screen, much less being there. You can feel it. You know what I mean? So it's like you want them to be really good again because, like I said, you could like to your point, energy feeds off energy. When those fans are seeing that type of talent and that type of effort and that type of level of skill and stuff, man, that's even that in a playoff game is worth a few more points. It's worth almost a playoff win when you got that kind of home crowd, So going forward, it's like, yeah, like I said, this might be a play-in situation. Right now, they're going to be in the 6th spot, I think. Even though they, I'm not sure who's got the tiebreaker between them and Orlando. I think they're right as of the recording, them and Orlando is tied for 6th. I feel like the fact that they went up 30, they went on a 31-0 run on Orlando. They should just automatically get the tiebreaker.
Oh man, that was crazy.
That was terrible.
They pretty much have that 6th spot lock, and I guess the 3rd spot that is locked. Well, there's no other spots locked, but I think Detroit pretty much locked number 1.
Yeah,
and it's just
Boston's got the number 2 seed.
And so 3 is either Cleveland or New York. So that's who we're going to be likely playing.
Well, it's going to be New York.
Yeah, wow. You know what? The matchup. Yeah, we'll see.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is, and they beat us for I think it was 6-7 straight times in a row. Yeah. But I think that's the most, believe it or not, even stating that stat, that's the most beatable team that we can win. I know you like them. Randall, but I think that's a better matchup than Detroit or Boston.
Get Poppy.
And you don't want to see Detroit or Boston. No.
Yeah, but it's feel like I said, based on how New York plays them, I'm not sure if we want to see. I'm kind of around that. We don't want to see New York. I don't want to see Brunson in the playoffs.
You would rather see Boston? Would you rather see Boston or New York?
I don't want to see Brunson in the playoffs either. Not this team.
I'm saying, but who would you rather see? If you were Toronto, if you were a Raptor fan, who would you rather play in the first round? Boston or
Cleveland?
No, but you don't got that choice. I'm just asking. I'm just saying.
I honestly would rather play Boston. I'll be honest with you.
Whoa. All right. Okay.
There's no team in the East that's I could say that is a sure shot. I mean, it's all like we talked about 3 or 4 teams. I think it's a crapshoot. Like if you said, "Hey, Knicks, went through," I would be like, that's predictable, right? If you say Boston went through, that's predictable. If you say Detroit goes through, I wouldn't be shocked, right? It's literally a crapshoot. Shoot, I'll even say this: the Hornets. If the Hornets catch fire, I can see them going to the conference finals.
I agree. Yeah, anything can happen in the East.
Listen, I said it earlier before us. They're the second since January 1st in 2026, the actual calendar year. They're the second best team in the NBA outside of the Spurs, based on the record. Right?
There you go.
I guess this is a large enough sample size to know that this isn't going away. It's just as I mentioned before. It's just the reins are loosening on LaMelo Ball again. That's the scariest shit that should be running through that franchise right now. They got to rein that boy back in before the playoffs kicks in. Because oh Lord, you don't want him going back to like taking 35 footers in the fourth quarter when you're down one. Like we don't need that. And they've been doing so good the last few months too.
Well, he is who he is.
Yeah.
He is who he is.
Yeah, that's a scary thing. Like I said, they reined him in as much as possible. But I've been saying this for the last year. He's a wild stallion, man. It's hard to rein a stallion in. It's hard. It's hard, man. That's why they're out in the field.
Yep.
No, I was just gonna say, is it too early to assess Bobby Webster so far? What's your confidence level in him his first year?
I'm cautiously optimistic still. I mean, the thing I could say is Bobby's fingerprints are all over the turnaround, right? And I mean, he essentially made the Ingram trade. He drafted CMB at 9, so I mean that was a good thing. And people don't realize he still managed as at the helm to keep the culture intact after MU's exit, right? Masai's exit. So at the trade deadline, we talked about it. He acknowledged that he had some type of quote unquote big deal in place, that was reported, but he declined to overpay. He only added, Trace Jackson Davis.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a promising start, but I think overall, he's told us. I've watched some of his interviews on, and I even went back to listen after the trade deadline. He said we got to be patient, right? And I mean, it's kind of like the MU kind of Masai language of you got to be patient. We gotta kind of be strategic. And he did acknowledge that tough decisions are coming this summer, right? So, so that overall, I mean, that's a GM who knows that that there's big moves to be made, and he's not panicking. But the one legitimate critique that I have is that there's, like we talked about this a lot, there's still a lot of depth questions. I mean, and a lot of roster questionabilities, like IQ, RJ. As much as I like him and what he's done, he's still there's still a logjam there, right? In Podol, right? They all are.
But to your point, in terms of the deadline, we were hearing the same rumors that you're talking about right now, which is a good sign. Meaning, like, he sees what we're seeing. You know what I'm saying? Like, he sees that. I heard RJ Barrett's name in the trade rumors like every day leading up to the deadline. I seen Pirtle's name every day up to the deadline. You know what I'm saying? So, like, to me, that is enough of a feedback to let me know, like, to give me confidence that he knows that he sees what we all see. And then, and he's been under the tutelage of Masai, right? And not many people can say that they had that coming in to their first GM role. So, it's hard. It's kind of early, to say if he's going to be a great GM or not. It's only been 1 year. Yeah. But so far,
it's a promising start, but the test is the off season.
Yeah.
This is where we'll next year at this time, we'll be able to say, really give him a true assessment.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. And most players, once they're here, especially if you pay them, they're willing to stay. You know what I mean? As we've seen also in the history of this franchise and stuff, right? A lot of great things to offer with the city and the organization when the organization is good. I think that one of the things we have to see is he going to have the mindset of the MU Tim Leiweke mindset where they're trying to go for championships, or is he going to have the Rodgers mindset where we're just going to turn a profit as long as we're in the playoffs, we're cool. You know what I mean? It's too early to say exactly where we are just yet, but I'm hoping because he came from the MU branch or the MU tree, he kind of follows that model. So we have to see. We have to give him time. I know it's early to say. But
no, he wants to win. He wants to win. Every GM, especially every young rookie GM, they want to make the mark in the league and put their name.
And he's
out
good.
there.
And he's good. But I totally agree with you guys. I think the next couple of years is where we're gonna really be able to grade him properly. Like he's kind of an incomplete because he just, it's his first year. So you want to give him grace.
Yeah.
Right. You definitely want to give him grace. I guess to quote unquote, wrap this episode. What is your assessment on predict the future? What is your assessment on this team in the next 2-3 years from now?
Well, again, I think if we are able to retain Ingram, re-sign him, I think Barnes is. I think Barnes is not a candidate to leave. Anything could happen, but I think we have a player like Barnes that we can re-sign, and I think having a core of those two players. I know Ingram is older, but I think having a core and having a winning franchise going into the next season and season after is going to be promising in terms of being able to. Not attract free agents, definitely not, but at least be able to have assets to trade for other players. And we do have our first round pick this year. I think it's one of the deepest draft classes ever. I think whoever we do draft can be a rotational player next year, for sure. Next year, I think with that pick as well, and what we have right now. I think for the next 2-3 years, next 2 to 5 years, well, not 5, that's too far to predict. No one knows what's happening in 5 years. But at least for the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to be a playoff team or a bubble team. I hate to say it. At minimum. And I think that's not every team in the East can say that.
Yeah. I mean, I think I said it earlier, right? I think the two major things, one is can the core stay healthy, and can Bobby make the right moves this summer? That's going to line up right everything. The moves this summer is going to be critical. I mean, like you said, we got to make. We talked about the. I mean, you said there's 3 positions that we need, and we have 3 position players that are individually skill wise they're good, and I just mentioned them Podol. Barrett, and Quickly, right? As much as I like the 3 of them just don't fit together. And the 3 got to go. I'm sorry. In one way or other fashion. I think the 3 got to go. And I think, and Julian, you said we need a center that can, athletic center can run the floor, grab boards, be that centerpiece in the middle, a medicine threat. We need someone I love RJ, and I don't want to see him go. I love him. I just think he's a piece that we're going to get a better return on, right? And I think, we need, you said it, a shooter, a bona fide shooter, right? Not necessarily a scorer, but a real legit threat shooter. And we need a point guard. And maybe the point guard's part and parcel, both of those, but we need a point guard. I'm telling you, that will reface this team.
Ja?
No. I was on the Ja train. I was, but that was with the thoughts of the way this roster is constructed. It makes no sense. Right?
No, I do agree. I do.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know. I don't know what it's out there, right? Let me ask you guys a question. I know you'll laugh and all that, but do you think? Well, I don't want his contract, but let's just say. Would you take a flyer on Embiid?
Who? Embiid? No.
Sure.
He's too injured.
It was brought up in Jess earlier, but I was thinking about it. Would that be?
It's not a crazy. It's just he's at max. He's at super max money right now, and for the return that you're getting in terms of, you almost have to look at this like a stock, right? Like the return that you're getting on that is not worth it.
No, yeah, I was just thinking about it.
Listen, even when he's playing, I watched a couple of games last week. Even
they're laughing at him yesterday. I watched some of the game.
Really? What were they saying?
Because they're saying he just takes up space and he clogs the middle. He's not fitting. He's not fitting with DJ and
or Maxi.
Yeah, his body's not built.
They're running into him. Because he just occupies space.
Yeah, I was going to make your point, Calvin. His body's not built for it. He's literally laboring down the floor, and like his body, like he's in pain constantly. He's grimacing constantly, and he's playing the game. He's playing, but you can see it just looks like he's ready to like fall apart.
But he's playing great. That's the funny thing. It's like he's still unstoppable, but I would like to, it's crazy to say this, but I'd like to see him retire in the next year. And so and I'm saying this to save him from himself. I feel like he's gonna be one of those guys when he's like 50 years old, 55 years old.
Yeah.
He's gonna be in a wheelchair.
I'm laughing because Batch would go batshit crazy.
I was thinking of him too.
I know he can't stand Embiid. Oh my God.
He can't. Then why would he have Philly?
I think he was only saying if they're healthy. He's using that as a caveat.
Nobody,
but trust me, I've had my arguments with that guy about Embiid. Like, he hates Embiid. He hates.
Fair enough. It just doesn't make any sense why he liked Philly so much. Then I know if he thought he's healthy.
Ask him. Yeah.
Ask
him next time he's on. But
I don't think he loved Philly that much. I think it was more that he thought that Philly had the intangibles to be a better team with the pieces they had. That's if
they're healthy, yeah.
Well, we all did, right? But George was always hurt, and Embiid is always hurt. So I didn't even have them in top two because I know.
And then we weren't expecting. We weren't expecting. We weren't expecting Paul George to be on the HGH juice. You know what I'm saying? Like for 25 games too. Like we know he was going to be injured, but we didn't know that was going to take them out.
But the thing is, he was injured, and he took it to get healthier.
Get healthy, yeah.
If he wasn't always injured, he wouldn't be on the juice. Yeah, so it still proves our point that he's bound to get hurt, and he can't be trusted. Embiid, he's bound to get hurt. He can't be trusted. So you can't trust or put any faith in them to be finishing in the top 2 or 3, knowing that they'll always hurt.
$115 million each. Not each, but $150 million a year between those two players minimum.
He's making what is it? 50, 60 next year and then 50 something the last?
You talking about Embiid or George?
Embiid.
Embiid's making like, what is it? Remember he recently signed an extension. It was like 60 to 65 million a year.
Yeah.
So the whole funny thing is not funny, but the whole interesting thing is that they got so lucky to get Edgecombe with all those injuries last year. You know what I'm saying? And Edgecombe looks like to be a proven all-star eventually, and they were able to get Edgecombe because of those injuries.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So,
but Maxey and
fortunate.
It's like a trust the process 2.0.
Yeah, but Edgecombe and Maxey don't look that great to me together either. It seems
it's an unusual match. I mean, combination, but you got to work with what you got. But I do hear you. But there's still assets. That I'm talking about just in general, right? But I do agree. They're both great players in the 2 guard position.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're both great players. And you don't need to go ahead, yeah.
No, I was gonna say I'm just thinking now about pieces. So back to the Raptors.
Mm-hmm.
I asked you guys about Embiid. I'm just throwing out names. What realistic moves do you think that we can go after or should be made in this offseason?
Well, I'll say this. I think in 2 to 3 years, I think if we're stuck with this core, something went horribly wrong. You know what I mean? Like I don't think you can stay stuck with this core just based on, like I mentioned before, not necessarily the playing style, but the contracts and stuff. Like you're gonna have to offload one of these contracts. You have to.
Oh,
like if you're trying to win a chip in the next, or be like at least in that contention the next 2 to 3 years, I think re-signing Ingram will be a mistake. Or I shouldn't say that. If you keep him, you can't keep one of these guys have to go. I'm keeping Scottie.
Crossroads. Well, hold on. You have something, see, because I'm looking right now. His contract's up in 2028. That's going to be major crossroads. So, like I said earlier, there's a certain period that the Raps. This is the period the Raps have to make the move, right? The next 2 seasons is it. Like you gotta utilize
player option in 2020, and he's probably going to keep that. He's probably going to take that player option.
Well,
he's going to be near 12 that year. He's going to take that player option. unless he gets another extension.
How old is he right now? Ingram.
He's 28 years old, but I'm looking at the mileage. 10 years, man. He's 10 years right now.
This guy, yeah, but I don't know. I disagree. If we sign him, it's a sign that we're not. No, I disagree with that completely.
I think he is who he is. So as long as you're able to accept that, that's fine. But this is it. Like he's not. This is not going to be a Steve Nash going to Phoenix situation where he's going to be an MVP.
I'm fine with that. I'm not looking at him to be a best player. I'm fine with that. We talked about it. I think there's a lot of money on the books that we can get better return on. Like quickly Barrett. I mean, Barrett's not that bad, but it's bad enough. Quickly gotta go. I'm telling you, I never like that contract.
With the right moves,
Podol needs to go.
Yeah.
No one's going to get Podol. No one's going to trade for Podol. We had a chance to get rid of him in LA, maybe LA, but now with his injury woes, we're screwed.
Well, yeah, you can always eventually trade a player, even like Podol, because you would have to package a couple of first round picks with him. But that being said, I wouldn't want to. Yeah. I want, like, you can see the first round picks these days are changing franchises, man. Like, I think that if we make, like, we're not going to have a lottery pick or anything like that anytime soon. But I think if we if we draft the right player, we can.
Right about the 18th.
Yeah. And this draft, I swear that I think the top 15 players are nice. They can not change a franchise, but they could be a rotational
make
starter.
An impact.
Yeah, top 15. So we're like 18, 19. That's like a little 3 or 4 out there. And to have that 18th pick in this year's draft is great, I think, because you're going to get some talent. And I think if we add another if we had a CMB that was 7 feet, our team would be on another level. I stand by it. A guy, like, if he was like 4 inches taller, shot blocking, defense. I'm not saying he's a great offensive player. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying that's what we need, a 7-foot CMB. But if we can draft something very similar.
He's 6'6", though.
He's 6'6". No, I know. He's too small to be a 5. But he plays bigger than that, though. Yeah. He plays like a Draymond. The comparison was always like a Draymond. That was always a comparison coming into the draft last year. Guy that can handle the ball, make the pass, has long wingspans, cover different positions, right? But all I'm saying is that if we have to draft. We have to draft, and we have to keep our first round picks and make a few trades. Get rid of, as you said, I do agree. Quickly, we're not going to get rid of Podol, hopefully, because we have to package first round picks. But a couple of trades. RJ is the best asset, as you said. That's all you need. I like Ingram. I like Barnes. Those two going together for the next at least 5 years. For sure. Minimum 5 years. For sure. And players, I think we've taken it for granted, man. Like, teams don't have an Ingram like that. Teams are coveted. Teams covered for a player like Ingram. He's not a superstar. I agree with you.
He's a good player. He's a good player.
He's a good player, and he's a player that we need on our team as a scorer. If we let Ingram go, we're not going to get anybody like that for a while. Unless we draft somebody and wait for 5-6 years.
It's going to be interesting how this works, because again, like, you got CMB, I always say CMB, we all we got, shout out to New Jack City. But like, it's like we got him, but like at the 9th pick, but I mean, there was Cedric Coward 2 picks later. There was Derek Queen 4 picks later, which might have worked too with this roster. You know what I mean?
100%. 100%.
So it's like, I don't want to say it's a miss, but like, you're hoping like a few years they're not talking about this.
But it also goes back to my point, how the draft pick is important, especially for a franchise like Toronto and Canada. Like, players don't want to come. That's why it's so important, because you can, if you scout well, you can change your trajectory in a year or two. Yeah. The last thing we want is another Grady Dick, another bad draft pick. Because Grady Dick was a bad pick. I hate to say it. There was the point guard on Utah. Who was the point guard there now? That came after him. Who?
George.
Yeah.
Keontae
George. He came like 2-3 picks afterwards. So like, that's a mistake.
Oh yeah.
Because then you're not paying IQ $35 million a year.
You're not.
Yeah,
and even if you are, you would have traded IQ at this point. But the point is, you can't mess up the draft, man. You cannot mess it up. It can set you back.
Not in a market where it's hard to get those A1 guys to come. It's
agreed.
It's either a trade or whatever you have to do. And it's funny because you made a point earlier, Julian, about like, that we're spoiled, right? But listen, we've been to Ibiza. We've partied in South Beach. It's hard to go back to a house party and be satisfied, right? Like it just is what it is. Like we've seen the mountaintop. We can't be happy with the hills. You know what I'm saying? Like
I agree, but let's not forget where we come from.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You get a
we
little
come from
bit
modest,
of money
humble beginnings.
What's that?
I said we come from modest, humble beginnings.
Right.
And I respect
we don't appreciate what we have until it's gone.
I do. I respect those humble beginnings. I'm going to present a scenario that I think Randall used to throw out the last couple of years, and I'm looking at, like I said, like you kind of look at this like a stock, right? You remember like during the pandemic when the airline stock was like stupidly low, like Air Canada was like $9 a share, that type of thing, right? You considering all the bases, but in the past, I would have shot this down with like 100,000 rockets. I would have did it like immediately. Anytime you guys brought it up, even on pods, I'm like, nah, hell no, you can't do it. You can't do it. But then when you see when where the asset is, it's so low at this point. I don't know, man. I'm kind of like at this point, I feel like throwing it on red like Suge Knight and giving John Moran the death row speech. And the reason why I say it, and listen, first of all, shout out to our heavily family member right now, Headley, because I feel like, I used to call it the knucklehead whisperer. You know what I mean? Like you know how he loved the knucklehead. Julian, he loved the knucklehead. Oh my God.
It was weird.
It was almost like a woman with a thug. You know what I'm saying? Like always felt like you could change him. Always felt that way. So I, in the past, has always been like, listen, I do not bring that guy here. We don't need his father dancing on Queen's Key. We don't need all that. Da. But the one thing I'll say, the only reason why I bring it up is because his stock has dropped so much that I feel like he's attainable. You're not giving up a ton for him. And he kind of slowly, because like, here's the thing, right? Like when I watch Ja play, right? I'm with you, Julian. I know you're making the faces. I'm with you in terms of like the knuckleheadedness, all this stuff. We know all that stuff. We don't have to rehash it all. I'm not gonna do the Stephen A. Smith where I just started ranking on the platitudes. I ain't gonna do all that. We all know what it is.
All right.
But it's like every time he does play, and you watch him, not this season, but every time you watch him play, I'm like, Jesus Christ, you forget how fucking good this guy is. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, I know his shot has to improve and all those things or whatever, but I'm like, man, I'm like, yo, this guy he's such a good player.
I don't know. See, I was like that too. I was the heavy John Moran whisperer trying to.
I know. I was the one shooting you down.
But and then I in the last, like after I made those bold statements, and many people watched those bold statements on your podcast. Tell me what are you thinking? Like, yo, I like what you said, but John, and I don't know, man, you don't know. And then I watched him. He's regressed a lot, and I don't know if it's because of injuries, but
I think it's a combination of a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't think it's really. I think it's more he doesn't like the coach. You know what I mean? Yeah. Most of the guys are gone. You know what I mean? I think the injuries I know the injuries that he quote unquote has. I'm not disputing it, but I don't think this is just injury driven. Like I feel like if he was like representative of a team, he'd be tanking. That's how I feel. Like, you know what I mean? I feel it's more other stuff than it's just injuries and whatever. Like, I feel like it's almost like in a way of like, I know he's saying he doesn't want to leave Memphis, but it's kind of like he wants to leave Memphis. He's saying it, but the actions are saying he wants to get out of here.
He said himself he feels isolated from the team.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You said recently, I feel isolated from the team. Of course, you're gonna feel isolated from the damn team when you played 15 games in the last 2-3 years. He's not playing, and when he plays, he stinks. No, let's just be real, man. And I'm a Rent fan, old Rent fan. Even with the shooting woes, I liked him, but he doesn't have the same burst. He doesn't have the IQ. He's not even rallying people around him. It's almost like he was better with Dylan Brooks.
This is where I think he's more of a distressed asset than a broken down.
Yeah, I do too.
I'll tell you, see where
I do.
Who's gonna gobble him up is Miami. I call it.
And then we're gonna have this conversation of, oh my God, yo, this guy's damn near an MVP, and blah 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 blah. Right? It's environment. I think the right environment. Like, first of all, if you're gonna go after somebody like him, you have because of course you have to make the money match. And where he's not making, there's this thing. He's not making super max money. He's making like 40 around that mark. He's making around 40 something mil a year, right? And I think if I look it up here, he's got let me see here, 2 years left on his contract. So at 42.2 and 44.8. It's right around where some of these guys that we have are. The thing is, though, it's the right environment because of course, like, you know, he has a history with Darko. I'm definitely getting a couple of vets in here. If I'm gonna make that move, you have to keep Garrett Temple, or you have to keep one of these vets to kind of keep him in. You have to have a vet. Because I think Memphis's biggest mistake in the past was they had no veterans. No veterans to rein anybody in. It was just the young guys, and that was it. You know what I mean? Dylan Brooks was, you know, like a shout out to you, Rand, for bigging him up earlier this year, but like he had a hard impact. But he's a young guy too. Like you need at least one vet that has his ear. You know what I mean? So to me, I'm just saying, because the asset is so low, and you're not giving up a ton for him. You know what I mean? This would like his ceiling is higher than anybody on the team. You know what I mean? Like it's a higher ceiling. Like what I talked about, that threshold of if you're gonna do, you know, you want to get close to being a champ, he will get you to 25 and 8 or 9. You know what I mean? Like he's that good. So to me, and again, it's saying a lot because, like I said, again, I am not a knucklehead whisperer. I'm not that guy. You know what I mean? But I'm just, again, I'm looking at the like, I mean, there was a point, I don't even, who knows how true this is, but there was a point in time where they were trying to, in terms of offloading Ja, they were trying to attach a pick to him. You know what I mean? Like that's how far the stock would have dropped. But I'm like, to me, if you're gonna flirt with a championship, like I don't like it's funny to say, as much as I love Giannis, and I love Giannis, year 14 with some of the injuries he's been having, I don't know if and you're gonna have to give up a lot for Giannis too. So I don't know if I would do that if I'm the Raptors. I wouldn't. I actually wouldn't. I would actually leave him alone. He's going into year 14. He's getting those lower leg injuries. The way he plays, he's at his ceiling, as great as, even though his ceiling is high. But I'm like, I don't know if I would give up, because you got to give up a lot for Giannis. I don't think you have to give up that much for Ja. You know what I mean? So I'm like, right environment, right coaching. The crowd is amazing. You don't have to put the father on this. You can put the father in the box suites. Don't put him courtside. Put him in the box seats. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, I feel like with the asset being so low, and this is my reasoning. I'm like, I'm saying I would seriously take a look at it.
Yeah, if you're not giving up a whole lot, of course, I think any team would take a look at it, and I think that's only makes sense. And you wouldn't be
fresh start.
You wouldn't be doing your due diligence if you were a GM. You're not going to look at it.
So would you give up? Would you give up quickly, Barrett?
Yes.
Yes. Quickly and Barrett. Yeah.
And
would you give up RJ? Would you give up? You probably have to give up like RJ or maybe not Barrett, because you probably have to send somebody with Ja just for the money to match.
Yeah, I mean, you would have to send, like, you have to match. I don't think the match.
Yeah, you would have to give up a couple of future draft picks too, by the way, for sure.
But I'm saying that the stock has dropped so far. But I'm like, again, 4 years ago, I mean, you saw where that team was. You know what I mean? Where they came close. They came closer to you think to knocking Golden State out on their way to the ring. Like when Golden State won the championship 2022, they were pretty close to taking them out. I think did Ja get hurt? Somebody got hurt. It might have been Ja that got hurt in that series. But they were like they were taking it. They were like here with Golden State. You know what I mean? Like his ceiling is, to me, I'm like, if he's engaged, fresh start, you know what I mean? Like a winning culture and atmosphere, great fans. We all know what this city has. If you want to throw the woman factor out there, you know the combination, the Russian and Dominican, you know, mix and this and Trini, and you know what I'm saying? Like there's so much to like. There's so much appeasing things you could throw here at him. So I'm like, to me, I'm like, I think you have to take a look at it. It would be the smart thing to do to at least take a look at it. I'll say this. Let me finish my point by saying this. I mean, this is a different culture that he was coming into. But in 1995, when he was taking off his shoes in playoff games, would you say Dennis Rodman's stock was worse than Ja Morant's right now? And I mean, mind you, he went to Chicago. There was a right environment for it. It's a whole different thing. I you know, so I want to preface this by saying there's Jordan, there's Phil Jackson, there's all those guys. But I'm like, but Dennis Rodman's stock was as low as you can get.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
Still averaging. His game didn't really slip. It was just his attitude, right? His game didn't slip, and he was playing. Rodman was still playing. He was just a nuthead, right? Mm-hmm. So all I'm trying to say is, if I go to seeing a little bit more of a sample size of what he is like on the court right now, because I haven't seen him playing in like 2-3 years, and when he does, it's been dismal, right? That's just my point.
I'd say he's been abysmal this year. When I like the times I saw him play even last year, I'm like, he still had those like, and it's not like, and it's more than just a highlight thing. It's like a damn. It's like you know when you see Zion playing, you're like, man, if this guy would just get it together. But he's never been in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like he just. Well, but at least with Ja, you at least you have seen it. You know what I mean? You have seen like where it could possibly go, and it's higher than anything we have here.
Oh well, yeah, like definitely. Like I said, he's.
I can't believe I'm fighting for him like this, but like I'm actually shocked myself here.
It's hard. It's not to say that it's hard to see him on the team unless we can see again quickly Barrett gone, right? Because then now you're gonna have to reconstruct the roster based on Barnes and Ingram, right? So Barnes, Ingram, and now you slot him in at point. Now to Julian's point, now you got to look for a shooter. You need shooting.
You need that anyway.
Now you've seen it compiles. Now you gotta. So it's hard to say. Yeah, like in a perfect world, if you can make some moves, Now maybe you get Edie in that trade too. Poto goes out the back end. Edie comes in. I don't know. Maybe now we're talking, right?
Yeah.
Now you could sign up. You can sign a free agent, or you can make another trade to get a shooter. You know, I don't know who would fit that slot at the. It would have to be the 2. Now you have a legit 2, a legit point, a legit 3, a legit 4, and a 5.
Yeah. And again, to your point, you're going to need to get a shooter. You're going to need to get a shooter anyway.
Have to get a shooter.
You have to get, but I mean, you have to get a shooter anyway.
I mean, the draft boards have that kid from UConn. I'm not a fan of him, but I'm tired of. Yeah. I like a shooter that could create, but.
I don't know. The only point I'm going to make is like I do agree with you. See, I think his talent is there. He just needs a new environment. That's for one thing. But you never mentioned once about his person, like the attitude, the issues off the court.
I know
he's gotten worse, and he's actually going the other way with each year in the league. It should be like a Scottie, like kind of maturing. He's going the other way. And that's where I draw the line is like there's something fundamentally going wrong with him, with the guns he's not learning. He's not learning. So
if I'm the GM, right? If I'm the GM and the three of us are in a room right now and we have his name on the whiteboard and we're breaking this all down, we're like, okay, what can we do to raise his asset? This is, like I said, this is not like like back in college, I used to have a lemon, right? Like that car was broken down and it wasn't coming back. You know what I'm saying? Like I had a car that was broken down that wasn't coming back. I don't feel like that's Ja. I feel like Ja's like I feel like Ja's like my aforementioned point before. I feel like Ja's like the Air Canada stock in 2021 or 2020.
Yeah, but you're never mentioning about his mental health. Like you
oh no, I'm not disputing that. Judy, again, I'm not disputing that. But that's what I'm saying.
You have to consider that though. That's why it can't be the Air Canada stock, because it's like more like JetBlue stock, because he's fucked in the head. You can't pretend it doesn't happen. Like it's not an issue. And I think the way that it's funny you make that analogy, the way that they are trying to increase his stock is by removing him from the game. That's the funniest thing. Yeah. They're not putting him on the floor to increase his stock. They're literally trying to shut him down and shut him the fuck up, and so people can forget. Literally forget like how he's crazy, how he's weird. So let's bring this down. Let's bring this down and let's come back in the off season and hopefully people just forget how crazy he is.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That's what they're doing, and you gotta like think on that too. Like, is he gonna 100%. And fuck up?
You're throwing all. Sorry, not to cut you off. You're throwing all the pros and cons on the whiteboard right now. Are we strong enough to bring somebody in like him, and are we confident enough that the environment is what will help him, as opposed to just like, yo, this is a lemon car, man. Get rid of this Chrysler Intrepid.
Yeah, and one thing I will say, I would agree, coming to Toronto would be the best thing. Like that would be one of the best environments for him to bounce back from and turn his career around. Because again, he's in a new country. It's
a hard conversation.
They'll just focus on ball. I don't even think Miami would be ideal. I know you guys are talking about Miami. I don't think that environment would be ideal for him. The system and
but Miami went after him. That's why.
Yeah. Okay. But like I'm just saying, like I don't even think going to a situation in like a city like Miami to live in will be ideal for a guy of his personality. I don't think so. But whereas versus Toronto, I think Toronto would be, because he'd be so far removed. I hate to say this, but from like an American culture and that mindset, you know what I'm saying? And he could just focus on ball. But anyhow,
English Harbor, Flying Fish, Roti. Get him in that culture right there. And a soca jam. We talking shop.
With a diaspora of cultures and people and personalities. Yeah. It grows you up fast. It does grow you up fast. Yeah. Then say you're living in Memphis and you're living in Miami or you're living in New York, it could draw you away from the game, right? With distractions and shit.
Again, it's a hard. I'm saying, like I said, I'm giving him the death row speech, but it's a hard conversation that we're having internally first before I give him that death row speech. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying.
All right.
But we'll wrap up here, brothers. As always, man, we pulled it off again, man. Another annual one in the books. Thank you guys, man. As always, can't do these episodes without y'all.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, no problem, man. That's all. I'm always loving to talk raps. This is the only time I do talk raps. Nobody really talks raps anymore, like in the chats or people. Like we watch it. Actually, not many people watching raps like nowadays. For me personally, so I think it's when playoffs start or when the start of the season and playoffs. But throughout the season, it's really quiet. So
I think it's more about the hype that the team needs to build. It started off really like with some hype, right, and some promise, but we just don't, like, and we talked about it, there's no ticket drawer, right, and someone like Morant would be a ticket drawer, like, and again, I mean,
from a business standpoint, for sure,
it's a compelling case. You know, I just hope that we make some good moves, and again, if I said it before, added Morant at the time because I thought that quickly would go out and Barrett would go out, and I thought that would open up space for him and kind of reconstructing certain of the roster. I like the fact guys like Walter. Then now I feel bad because I kind of liked Dick last year, right? I mean, but I like Grady last year. Yeah, we got to get rid of Dick. That's not a problem.
We got to get rid of it. Yeah. He's fell off the map though at this point.
Like off the map.
Yeah.
He's done.
Yeah, those shaving commercials aren't holding him anymore.
No, not at all.
No,
but he was good last year.
Yeah,
he was good. You know what? He showed a lot of promise. You're right, he did. But it was with a broken down lineup, and being able to get a lot of playing time does help with your flow. And so yeah, he looked. I wouldn't say he looked promising, but he looked, good enough to retain.
I would have said he would have. My thing was he would have regressed number wise, but improve in efficiency. That was my goal. That was my aim. Right? Mm-hmm. He was an optimal guy off the bench that you can grow with. He'll never be a quote unquote major starter, but he can plug it in on nights. And he's a shooter, right? I thought
that was it right there. The shooting. We drafted him for his shooting. We needed outside shooter, and they said he was the best shooter out the draft. Literally, that's what he said. And his shot has fell, like it's gone. It's literally gone. Walter's a better shooter right now.
Yeah.
So
but that's it.
He'll find his shot. I think eventually.
Probably with another team, most likely.
That's the thing, because when you draft that high, you can't lose your shot. You should never lose it.
And he has intangibles. More athletic than I thought he was. He's tall, big, so he feels.
Yeah, he's long too.
Long. I mean,
he's like perfect for two guard. Like he's long.
Pause again.
No one said Dick. No one said Dick.
But on the ticket draw front, I'll end off by saying, come to death row. Come to death row.
That's hilarious. Yeah, but we do.
You don't want to be dancing up in the videos, and you don't want to come to death row.